Now I'm inviting our next student, Mrs. Jyoti Gautam. She's going to present on efficient production of the potent antimicrobial metabolites from the fungus Aspergillus terrace. Okay, Jyoti, you may continue, please.
Okay, sir. Good evening to all present. Uh, Today I'm going to present my work, and the title of my work is Efficient Production of Potent Antimicrobial Metabolite Terrin from the Fungus Aspergillus terreus. Next. Next. First of all, I would like to tell you about what was the rationale of my study. Since I was a research scholar, and I have faced many problems while doing the work on natural products. I have found that it's well known fact that it's very difficult to search a lead compound from the complex metabolite extracted from the natural sources. So here we have done an effort to increase the quality and quantity of metabolite by optimizing the media on which our fungus has been cultured. This, I have taken the culture JAS2 as my fungus, and I'm going to tell you about this fungus. So this is the fungus Aspergillus terreus, and this is endophytic in origin. Since I have isolated this fungus from the Achiranthus aspera, and that was my medicinal plant, and there from the stem of Achiranthus aspera and coded as JAS2 to carry out further experiments. On the primary screening, I have found that JAS2 is found to be blessed with antimicrobial and antioxidant properties. For the media optimization, for this, to increase the production of metabolite, I have done the media optimization. For this, I have used the basic principle of MTT assay for this diffusion method and MTT method. MTT method is based on the reduction of MTT yellow dye into the formazole purple color, and MTT is tetrazolam dye, which is reduced to insoluble formazone by live cell. The amount of formazone is directly proportional to the number of live cell, and this assay will ultimately measure the viability of the cell. Next. This is the basal media selection. For this, I have grown my culture in 4 different media, that is SDB, PDB, mast extract broth, and Japak-Dox broth. PDB is potato extract broth, SDB is savrot extract broth, malt extract broth, and Japak-Dox broth. And for I have grown my culture in all these media. Then I've extracted the metabolite, and then I've tested this against the different bacterial pathogen, and I have found that my SDB media was the best media. As you can see in these pictures, that the SDB has shown the maximum zone of inhibition. Our selected media was SDB from the previous experiment. For this, SDB was a defined media. So I have just changed the carbon and nitrogen sources of those medium to increase the production of our metabolite. That was antioxidant also, that was antimicrobial also. For nitrogen source, I have taken 1% beef. Just I have replaced peptone with the different nitrogen sources that are given below and different carbon sources. Nitrogen sources are beef extract, peptone, casein, yeast extract, and urea. And carbon sources maltose, starch, dextrose, and sucrose. And dextrose along with casein resulted in the increased production of metabolites. Next. Next. See, since I have observed that casein along with the dextrose, if 4% dextrose and 1% casein was giving a good result as antimicrobial compound in the production, it was increasing the production of my metabolites. So I have used a varying concentration of casein to just to get which concentration will be better for the production of my compound. So here and simultaneously, I have also conducted an HPLC program. HPLC, I have done the HPLC program of all the metabolite. That is from I have taken my concentration from 100 to 900 milligram of casein, and that is 2% of dextrose along with in 50 ml of distilled water. And I have seen that at 400 to 500 milligram of casein, and I was getting the maximum absorption of the compound. See, we can see from this this slide. Here is this. Next. And along with that, I have also found the crystal of this compound. The main thing is that I have found the crystal of this my compound also in the dextrose and casein. So I also done the comparative study. Like I have also run the HPLC chromatogram of the crude metabolite from the SDB, and that is comprises of dextrose peptone and dextrose and casein both. And in dextrose and peptone, we have seen that there are four compounds. Four compound are I am getting, and in dextrose and casein, there are a single compound I am getting. So from this, means I have got the crystals also, and even this dextrose and casein also giving the crystal. This is our the dextrose as and casein act as our substrate for for my compound, and I have just given my compound for the extra crystallography, from where I have got the trade name, that is Terine. IUPAC name is 2-cyclopentene 1 on 4,5,5 dihydroxy 3,1-propenyl, and the molecular formula is C8H10O3, and average mass is 154.763 Dalton. So this is now the salient feature of my studies. I would like to tell you, from the above result, it has been indicated that metabolites secreted under the different media, that is PDB, SDB, CJB, and activity. In order to increase the production of metabolites, ATBs, SDB, the main metal media is replaced with a different carbon nitrogen sources. Metabolites secreted under dextrose and casein resulted in enhancing the quantity of metabolite. Considering dextrose and casein as a responsible substrate, I have got a single compound, and then I have used the varying concentration of the casein for optimizing the maximum production of significant compound. From media having 400 to 500 of casein and 2% of dextrose in 50 ml distributor resulted in the maximum production of crystallized compound. At the same concentration, 500 milligram maximum absorption of compound recorded 268 nanometer wavelength. And simultaneously, all the crude metabolite extracted in a different optimization was fragmented via HPLC into their expected component, which might be responsible for the antibacterial activity. Metabolite grown with dextrose and casein resulted in the fragmentation of single peak in HPLC program, whereas crude metabolite of SDB was fragmented into different peak. So as a result, I would like to tell that dextrose and casein has given us the best result. And this is, I have published this of my short piece of work, the short communication of this as an efficient production of potent antibacterial compound, antibacterial metabolite taken from the fungus Aspergillus stadius. Thank you.
Jyoti, very well done. I just have one question.
Yes,
Jyoti,
sir. Yes, sir.
whatever you grow, like this fungus, is it
Yes.
your seed media or production media? This seems to be mean that whatever the lab media you have, you use that. I think try some production media or some, the crude medias, which may increase your, metabolite production. As per my knowledge, what actually it looks like that.
Sir, generally we have the PDB, that is also an undefined media. PDB used to prepare after cutting potatoes and just boiling that.
Fine, it's fine.
Yes, and the SDB and Deepak docs, and these are the media. These are basic media that we have in the lab. Yes, sir, we can do that. But here, what I have found now, that I have found my single compound, and it is very difficult for us to isolate.
I agree with you.
Sir,
but overall work seems to be very good. I know, like the hard work, what actually to get a natural molecule from a mixed culture. Anyways, it's fine.
I wanted to show that our NAVE researcher can opt this method also for conducting their study, so that they can many experiment they cannot do because they don't have that much of metabolite. I have also done the further study of this Terine for the anti-cancerous cancer also, because I have that much amount of metabolite in in pure form.
Okay, done. Thank you, Jyoti. Other panelists can ask.
Jyoti, I have one question to you. I may have missed a part of a presentation.
Sorry,
What
sir.
was the mechanism of this? I might have missed a part of a presentation. I wanted to ask you what is the mechanism of your compound, मतलब mechanism of the antibacterial activity of a compound. What is the mechanism? Where does it actually strike the bacteria?
Sir, antibacterial activity means I cannot tell you about the mechanism, but for the just screening purpose, I have done disc diffusion method. For that, I have taken three bacteria: Aeromonas hydrophila, Salmonella typhi, and uh, Staphylococcus aureus. Against three bacteria I have
Yeah,
tested.
that
I
is
have
fine.
found.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is fine, because see what happens is that whenever you want to launch any antibacterial compound to the market or any kind of drug, finally you have to convince the legal authorities the possible mechanism mode of action.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir. Sir,
unless
this is
a
this is
compound has a very remarkable activity.
sir. This is a
So I
drug.
was just thinking that have you thought of in which possible pathways or
Sir,
target it must be
I
doing?
have actually, sir, I have not worked on this mechanism, and my
Okay.
this work was to isolate and to purify the from the endophytic compound from endophytic fungi. My target was, so I have isolated from there, and drug is already known. It is one. It was discovered in 1935 by Brestrix, and from that time, many work has been done regarding this is anti-cancerous drug. Many type of breast cancer and lung cancer type of drug has been work has been done. Many type of work has been done. And third thing is that
Now, Jyoti, one more thing. Now, if a
yes,
compound is anti-cancerous in nature, then do you think that it can be applied and human can be given because of
sir,
antibacterial property? Don't you think it is going to
sir,
interfere in
it
that
is
action?
already anti-cancer. Sir, it is anti-cancer in nature, and it has been already used. Sir, the thing is that my work is that I have isolated from the endophytic fungi. For first time, I have isolated
No,
from the
no, no.
endophytic fungi.
I got your point. I just wanted
Yes,
to
it
ask
can be given. It has been
you.
used in the.
Do you
Sir,
have an example about today's any compound? Because I may be ignorant
Jyoti,
about
hold
knowledge.
on. Listen to expert, Jyoti.
Okay, sir.
Just I may be ignorant about any such compound. I wanted to know if there is a compound existing which is being given both for antibacterial as well as anti-cancer.
Expected, sir. Sir,
I just
this
wanted to
is
know
the
that.
compound.
You think that
This is the compound. Sir, this is
okay,
the
yours
compound.
compound is the first compound which will be both antibacterial and anti-cancer.
Yes, sir. It was active against Phytophthora infestans,
Okay,
Bifurus turankiana, viscous
I
disease.
hope I hope this
Sir, you
compound will
wanted to know that
work
this
as
drug
well
can
as
be active. Yes, yes, sir. This can be. This can be, but I don't have any.
Jyoti,
I
just do
don't
one
remember
thing.
any
Just
example.
recheck. As professor said, just recheck once again in your coming work, right? That is the only way what actually the I
Okay.
think expert is asking for.
Okay.
okay. Thank you, Jyoti.
Okay,
Thank you.
we should move ahead now. Thank you very much. Now I'm inviting Mr. Vinay Kumar Pathak. He's going to present mimicking bee epitopes of Microbacterium leprae and host predictive biomarker for pathogenesis of type 1 reaction in leprosy.
Yes, sir. Good evening, respected experts and committee members and dear fellows. The topic of my study is mimicking B cell epitopes of M. leprae and host, which is human being, as a predictive biomarker for pathogenesis of type 1 reaction in leprosy. The type 1 reaction is an immunological complication episodes while patients are on treatment. Next slide, please. Next, please. So there are several mycobacterial infections, include leprosy and tuberculosis also, which are known to evoke autoimmune response by modulating homeostatic mechanism of the host. And there are the upsurge of cell-mediated immune system in the patients who are having on the drug regimen of leprosy. And during the treatment, they can go in type 1 reaction or type 2 reaction, which is an immunological reversal reaction, and which may lead to development of deformity and stigma for the patients. So, hello, the slides are not visible, sir. And so it is very crucial to manage the patients in type 1 reaction in order to avoid the development of deformity. And there are several molecules which has been reported, autoantibody against which has been reported, like rheumatoid factor, antinuclear factor, collagen, beta-2 microglobulin, etc. So we focus only on some few proteins: MBP, myelin basic protein, HSP65, and keratin, which are more prominently participating in the autoimmune factor, which may lead to the type 1 reaction, the onset of type 1 reaction. So we predicted B cell epitope by using BCPRED server. So we go back BCPRED server, and the mimicking epitopes were predicted by CLUSTAL-W multiple alignment server. And we predicted 7 mimicking B cell epitope of HSP65 of M-leprechaunism, which were similar to keratin of the host, and similarly 4 epitopes of keratin which were similar to HSP65, and 2 epitopes of MBP similar to 50S ribosomal protein of M-leprechaunism, and 2 mimicking B cell epitopes of MBP which are similar to lysyl tRNA synthetase of M-leprechaunism. Next, please. So, in order to screen the reactivity of peptide across the subject groups, we recruited 50 untreated leprosy patients in type 1 reaction and 50 untreated non-reaction leprosy patients, which are both are on treatment, and 20 unoccupational healthy control to screen the reactivity of the peptides. And the humoral response for against these mimicking peptides were screened across each group. And patients having any other immunological problem or which alter the immunity of patient, or patient with HIV like that, were excluded from the study in the sample. Next, please. And the ELISA with the peptides were standardized with the checkerboard analysis, and we found that 2.5 microgram per ml of the peptide concentration and 1:32 ratio dilution was optimal to perform the test, which gave us the differentiable values across each group. So the level of antibody against each B cell epitope was accessed through ELISA. Next, please. So these are the scattered graph across the 3 groups, and we can say for HSP65 of M-leprechaunism, and you can see the different variation of the values, OD values at 492 in different groups. Next, please, sir. These are the 4 HSP predicted, and these are the 3. And one-way ANOVA test was performed to see the difference, and multiple Duns test was performed to see the differences across each group. Next, please. So this is the summarized values of OD values of mean summarized OD of the HSP peptides across each group. And we found HSP4 and 5 peptides which were predicted. We found higher titer in type 1 reaction group as compared to non-reaction group, and as well as compared to healthy group, healthy control. Next. Similarly, for keratin, we found a significant difference in 3 peptides across out of the 4 predicted peptides. Peptide 1, 3, and 2 and 4, and which especially peptide 4 gave especially higher titer as compared to both non-reaction and household healthy controls. which can be which is very promising outcome from this study, and which can be further studies for the development of some diagnostic predictive markers for type 1 reaction. Next is, and similarly, this is the values we can see that the keratin 4 giving high, very significant high titer in type 1 reaction as compared to healthy and non-reaction. Next, please. So similarly, this is the mimicking basal epitope of MVP, which is similar to 50 years. And next slide, please. And these are the scattered graph of other two MVP peptides, and we found MVP1 and MBPL, which is similar to lysine tRNA synthetase B2 in higher titer in type 1 group. Our some peptides were not higher in titer in type 1 group or non-reaction, which is also correlated with the clinical findings and status of the patient. And we found especially HSP and HSP4, HSP5, and keratin 1, 2, and 4, which is significantly higher in a type 1 group as compared to a non-reaction and healthy control. Next, please. Next. So the key findings from the study, please do the previous slide. Hello. Yeah, the mean level of antibody against HSP peptide 4 and 5 was significantly higher in type 1 reaction, followed by non-reaction and healthy controls among all the mimicking HSP peptides screened. And similarly, keratin 1, 2, and 4 was significantly higher in type 1 reaction. And similarly, one mimicking B-cell epitope of MVP is similar to 50S ribosomal, and one from similar to tRNA synthetase was also significantly higher in type 1 reaction. Next, please. So out of 15 total, 8 mimicking B-cell epitope of keratin and MVP were found to be significantly associated with type 1 reaction, and which can be further studied for screening large number of samples to validate a test to develop a diagnostic predictive marker for type 1 reaction in leprosy patients. And this can be further used in the field condition or before onset of type 1 reaction to minimize the deformity developed by type 1 reaction in leprosy. I would like to acknowledge ICMR for funding the study and for the fellowship, and I would like to thank my director, the Leprosy Mission Trust India, for providing the necessary facilities. Thank you, sir.
Sir, I have one question. My buttons were freezed. I just
Doctor.
wanted to ask you, what was the criteria for the screening of, because see, I have missed your first 2-3 slides because of the connectivity issues.
Yes.
I wanted to know what was the inclusion criteria for the leprosy patient. Are they were on any kind of AKT treatment?
They were on any, sir?
Any antimicrobial treatment? Drugs?
No, sir. Actually, we are focusing on the type 1 reaction, which is the main cause of development of deformity in the leprosy patient, which further it is the main cause of a stigma in leprosy patients in the society. So,
that I understand. I want to know,
yes,
these patients,
yes,
were there any under treatment?
sir, yes, sir. I'm just explaining that. Actually, the patient in non-reaction category, they are untreated for leprosy, and the patient in type 1 category, they are under treatment for leprosy but they are not taking treatment for type 1 reaction in leprosy. So they are using a drug regimen for MDT, which is recommended by WHO and all the authorities. But before starting the prednisolone or some drugs for subsiding the reactional episodes of the type 1, or there is also a type 2 reaction, before starting the drug for type 1 reaction, and the patient's the blood was collected in each group. Hello.
Okay, okay. Thank you. I got it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm inviting our next scholar, Mr. Piyush Kant Rai. He's going to present work on docking study of tumor-causing gene against phenolic acid compound present in maize plant. Yes, Piyush, you have 5 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Piyush Kanta, research scholar of AKS University, Satna. Today, I'm presenting one of my ongoing work on the topic docking study of tumor-causing gene against a phenolic compound present in maize plant. Chronic diseases. According to recent reports from the WHO 2017, chronic diseases are currently the major cause of morbidity worldwide, and it will become one of the major cause of mortality by the next decade. Cancer has been recognized as one of the life-threatening disease, which is such as breast cancers, lung cancer, one of the life-threatening diseases among human, and root cause of cancer and its type where chronic infection, obesity, cirrhosis, alcohol consumption, and all. And next, if we talk about the CDKs, hold on. I think, sir, my slide is changing or not? Okay. Cell cycle. Okay, cell cycle. If you talk about CDKs 2, CDK4, they are being involved in the regulation of the cell cycle, while CDK7, CDK9, CDK8 have C terminated, and out of which CDK8 belongs to the mediator transcription. Yes, sir.
Now you are on third slide. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The mediator transcription forms CDK module together with MET12 and MET13 gene, and it also has a positive regulator of transcription genes such as P53 genes. If we talk about the whole grain, because in today's world we are already consuming so many chemicals in the form of food, fast food. So what we are searching for phytochemicals which should have less effect on our health. So what it does, whole grain consists of several phytochemicals compound which are encapsulated within their protein sequences released by enzymatic hydrolysis or gastrointestinal digestion. Example like alkyl resources. Someone the whole grains are which basically belongs to the family of the grass, which are composed of the embryo, endosperm, starch granules, and as well as the outside band. A wide range of phytochemicals such as phenolic acid present in maize, such as consumption of whole grains has been proven to decrease the risk of obesity, diabetes, CVD, and cancer. A recent meta-analysis suggested that healthy dietary pattern of whole gram could lower cancer risk, and it can be used for antiviral risk also. So moving on to the next slide. Okay, maize. Maize is one of the leading resources as food, and corn contains many significant bioactive compounds providing desirable health benefits, and also it is one of the oldest food resource, around 9,000 to 7,000 to 9,000 BP before present. Maize consists of anthocyanin, which provides stabilization of free radicals, phenolic acid. It has great biological effects such as anti-cancers, anti-mutagenic, anti-inflammatory, and CVD. These all are already present in the form of research paper in recent studies. Next one is okay. Next one is diphenolic acid, one of the phenolic acid that is present in the maize and rice. And diphenolic acid is basically a non-cyclic type of compound. It is found mainly in sugar pulp, barley, maize. It has a molecular weight of 386.4 gram per mole with log P value of 2.7. Diphenolic acid is a compound as a drug is not reported yet, but several cancer-related research paper suggested that food which consists of phenolic acid, that is the diaferolic acid, likely to decrease the cancer effect in human body, and many wet lab result is also presented there. CDK8 structure, which I have taken for my studies, is it my slide 7 or 6? Okay, sorry. So next one is the protein structure, which is taken for a study is 3-RGF, one of the CDK8 structure present in the PDB database, and the structure was developed by X-ray diffraction method, and with total of 680 residues. Binding site prediction was done by PrankWeb web tool, which is a part of Elixir European Research Infrastructure for Biological Information. If you talk about the binding site predictor tool, after the binding site prediction, the binding site predictor identifies that chain A can be suitable for the docking study, and the amino acids which it recognizes for the binding pockets are somewhat 15
Piyush,
numbers.
you have 1 minute more.
Yes, sir. Valine 27, valine 35, alanine 50, lysine 52. All these are there, and the highest pocket score was for this pocket was 11.73 with probability score of 1.473. The ligand and target structure were prepared before docking, and for that the polar hydrogen were added and into the target structure, and the Coleman charges were also added by using autodock, and diaferolic acid from various. If we talk about again diaferolic acid from various whole grain are still under study. However, there is few paper which shows effect of such phytochemicals in wet lab studies, and we are also doing simulation on our docking structure to check how strongly it is binding with CDK8. And one more thing for our docking study, I have also the GRNs which I did for that is 50, and Sigwin is also used for the for command for recalling the command of autograde and autodock. The best docking score which I got from that is -7.8, and now this is the docked structure which I have got after doing the docking, and the average binding hydrogen bond was 2.0 angstrom approximately. Then these are the structures. As you can see, whatever binding site have predicted, it is binding with those amino acids with multiple hydrogen bond, which is about number 6 in numbers. And thank you. I'm very grateful to the present allowing me to present here. Thank you so much.
Okay, Piyush, very nice. Now I request panelists to ask any question. Yeah.
So Piyush, how do you choose the compounds to which you are going to dock the CDK8?
Sir, are you talking about target or ligand?
Ligand.
Ligand. So ligand, basically, I am doing research on maize plant. So by doing the review work, I came to know that recent studies there is some phenolic compound, and there is lignans, there is anthracynin compounds which have some medicinal properties. In today's world, we are consuming so much chemical, and if you talk about only paracetamol only, it has a very negative effect on our health. So that's why in the search of phytochemicals which are directly came from the plants will be beneficial for the human health. And so in that search of I came to know about diaferolic acid, and with a research paper I get to know that it has anti-cancer properties. And also I did a QSR study also, with I couldn't maintain to take it in my slide because as pandemic is going on, my most of research work is in my research lab computer, and I don't have my data with me right now, so I'm sorry for that.
Okay, thank you, Piyush. Very good.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay.
So good evening all of you, sir. I'm highly grateful. Thanks to Diwakar sir to give this opportunity to present my paper. So myself service. My topic is efficacy of immunomodulatory activity of aqueous extract of Osmium sanctum as a rat model. here we are going to this is abstract part, my abstract part. Now going to as an introduction. And as we know, the medicinal uses of plants is very old. The writing indicate the therapeutic uses of. Yes, sir.
Sarvesh,
Yes,
what
sir.
you do now, you keep your microphone little bit away from your mouth and speak loudly.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. So this is the introductory part, and I'm going to introduce the medicinal uses of plant is very old. The writing indicates the therapeutic use plant is as old 4000 5000 BC as Chinese first the natural representation medicine in India. Reference to Rig Veda, which is written to between 5500 to 16 BC, 1989. Nowadays, is the large number of drugs used as a drug from different plant parts. Here I am using Osmium sanctum that belongs to family Labiatae. This is very important for their therapeutic potential. The holy plant is known as Tulsi, which is used right now. I'm going to just know a little bit immune system. And the immune system is designed to protect the host from invading the pathogens to eliminate disease as it is functioning best. The immune system equity responds to invading the pathogen while retaining the capacity to recognize self-antigen to which is tolerant. Protection from infection and disease is provided by the innate and adaptive immune system. This is our in my papers main materials and methodology we have followed. We have taken leaf Osmium sanctum leaves, dried and press it out of form, and that is prepared as a liquid form. Here we have taken Wistar rat model, divided into 3 groups. First one control, each group having 5 mice. As another one, second group we have treated 100 milligram per kg body weight as a Osmium sanctum extract. In group third we have taken 200 milligram per kg body weight Osmium sanctum extract. Here what we have did in this, here we have used as a antigen preparation. Crystalline bovine serum is used for non-solar antigen for the present investigation. Another one, soluble bovine serum aluminum is used. Prepared the overlaying the BSA powder and isotonic 1.0 milligram per ml of saline 0.15 normal. It is allowed to dissolve the antigen used as the antigen. The overall study, we have the collection of seabread blood cells. SRB were collected by elsewhere solution from animal and studies. Here elsewhere solution is composition of dextrose 2.05, sodium citrate 0.5 gram, sodium chloride 0.5 gram, and citric acid 0.05 gram. In this ingredient were weighted to dissolve 100 milligram distilled water elsewhere solution used in preparation 1:2 sea blood and elsewhere solution. Next step is for immunization. After 3 days exposure to the toxicant, rat was immunized with optimal dose of 0.5 ml of antigen. The antigen is injected through the intraparietal route using 3 ml tubercle saline. Secondary immunization was done with the same dose antigen through the same route on the 15 days after primary immunization. Antigen administration serial bleeding of animal were always done between 2 to 4 p.m. Due to circadian rhythm variation on immune system because it is equivalent to human immune system. Another step is blood collection from breast specimen. Blood sample was collected from tail vein by the snipping tip of the tail. The tail was cleaned by split strip clean scissor. The blood was collected in an EDTA rinse while monitoring studies. Antigen antibody titration was done. Normal serum and anti-serum collection. The blood was collected from the control and test animal by snipping caudal vein and rinsed with 1% EDTA, kept at room temperature for 20 minutes. The serum was separated by spinning the clot 3000 rpm for 15 to 20 minutes and then collected sliced with wires, kept to 1570 degrees centigrade for water bath for 30 minutes to inactivate the component stored at 20 degrees centigrade until use. Antibody titration passive hemoglobin acid chloride. Chromic chloride method is used here for HA method. This assay was used to determine the anti-BSA antibodies in serum. Two-fold dilution of the anti-serum microliter per well per BS. Here, microtiter well is U-shaped bottom microtiter plate was used. Of 2% BSA coupled SRB in saline was added to each well for effective mixing. Microtiter plate was handshaken and incubated for overnight 37 degrees Celsius. The higher dilution of the germ plasma shows the detectable microscopic glyphs recorded express log 2 antibody titers of the serum. Coupling of the BSA and to SRB, this chromic chloride method was immunological purpose was allowed. According to in this present, chromic chloride used the coupling agent for coupling BSA, SRB. Fresh seed chloride was washed thrice per day by using phosphate buffer saline and storage 40. one volume of chromic chloride solution was added to equal volume of the protein antigen in 0.15 saline, then added to volume at cell immediately, then mixed well at room temperature for 4 minutes. Couple red was washed and then in 10 to 20 volume of 0.1 molar sodium is suspended in 0.15 ml NaCl with 2% pH.
Conclude, please.
Yes, sir. We're going to for now results and observation mainly. We have did the technology hematological analysis by the Newborn chamber. We analyzed the RBC, WBC. We have found that giving sample of 100 and 200, we have risen the 100 and 200 as compared to control group. Here we have confirmed the biochemical tests also. So I'm going to just a table that parameters we have analyzed. Protein, albumin, globulin, SGOT, SGPT. This table is going to be shown. The first column is control. 0, 5, 3 columns we have taken 0, 15, and 30. Control the mean values. Or another 100 ml given for control 2 and second group, and third one second 200 ml. Now these are the hematocrit analysis. We have found that the WBC, RBC count and osmosis TT group was significantly higher compared with the control group during experimental period 2, figure 2 and 3. We have come to following. This is a graph. First one, sterile osmosis ethylase count was found that RBC was higher than as compared to control group. Another one, this is effect of osmosis on leukocyte count by comparison Newborn chambers we are using for Newborn chambers for counting the RBC and WBC. Here is showing also first control compared to control group, first and second are higher in case of these two groups. Another one, this hemoglobin content also increasing as compared to control group. So now finally, sir, discussion. We have found that the osmosis found throughout the semi-tropical and tropical part of India. This is the osmosis stimulate the antibody production in it. It enhances the production of WBC, RBC, and hemoglobin. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And especially I must extend my thanks to Dr. Sandeep Sharma and Dr. Niladri Roy for conducting very well this session as a panelist and chairing this session with me. And I am also thankful to all the 7 scholars who are here to present their work on the Research Scholar Award. And I must thankful to all of you, and I must want to give you all the best. Hopefully you will get anyone Research Scholar Award under this category. Just be with us. This announcement will be done after this completion of all the sessions. So thank you so much. And now I'm handing over mic to the Dr. Diwakar for. And I would like to.
Thank you.
I would like to give a mic to Dr. and Dr. Niladri and concluding remarks from their side. Sir. Yes, Dr. Roy.
Yeah, thank you for the great presentations. And maybe I think now we have a break, and so I have just a quick question for Dr. Kamlesh and Dr. Sandeep. So we are going to send the evaluation scores to you or to Dr. Tiwari?
Dr. Tiwari, you just sent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rai.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma and Dr. Kamlesh.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we will meet just after 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay.
Again.
Thank you.
I may not be there. So.
Yeah. Then I will be part of the next session.
Okay.
I will join after 1 hour.
Thank you.
Okay. A very good evening to all of you. I, Durga from Amity University, going to present capacin to combat SARS-CoV-2 receptors, a molecular docking approach. This is the abstract for this work. Starting with the introductory portion, the full form of COVID-19 is coronavirus disease. As we all know that COVID-19 is an infectious disease where a lot of people got infected by this disease. Basically, the COVID-19 is a severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. It infects respiratory portion of human body. The COVID-19 was originated from Wuhan, Hubei province, China in early December 2019. At that time, this disease was firstly identified in the seafood market. From that day, the patient who am having respiratory disease also got infected with COVID-19. But at that time, none of the local health authorities were able to identify this actual disease, what it is actually. As day passes, a lot of people got infected with this disease and this situation become more pandemic that is spread in other part of the world. Coming to the bioactive compound that inhibits the SARS-CoV-2 pathway. This figure will depict that how bioactive compound will play a potent role to increase immunity level of human beings. Whereas all these bioactive compound having ability to inhibit the pathway of SARS-CoV-2. After that, this bioactive compound will inhibit the replications of this COVID-19. Coming to the methodology used for this current work. Firstly, protein data was retrieved from the PDB. After that, ligand data was retrieved from the Wikipedia or PubChem, where we took the Smiley format of this ligand. After that, we converted it into the .pdb format by Smiley, online Smiley converter. In the second step, molecular docking was performed. Basically, blind docking was performed by the AutoDock tool. At last, result analysis were done by the same tool or by .dlg file that was obtained by the same. Coming to the steps of blind docking that was performed in this current work. In the step first, we have to read the macromolecule, that is protein, that was in .pdb format. After that, we have to edit this macromolecule by means of their bond, charge, hydrogen, torsion angle, etc. Now we have to select the ligand. That ligand was also in .pdb format. After that, save this ligand in .pdb qt format. In the step 4, we have to prepare the grid. We have to prepare the grid around the macromolecule. Firstly, read this macromolecule that was in .pdb format. Save it is in .pdb qt format. Then we have to select the set map type. We have to choose the ligand. After that, we have to prepare the grid to cover the entire protein because we are performing the blind docking. Then we have to save this in .gpf format. In the step 5, we have to perform the docking. In this docking, we have to take this macromolecule that was in .pdb qt format. After that, take the ligand that was also in .pdb qt format. Then go to the search parameter by means of their genetic algorithm. Then select the docking parameter by default. Then save it in .dpf format. After that, run the AutoGrid and AutoDock. To run AutoGrid, upload the file that was obtained by the preparing grid. Then it will return into .glg formats. For AutoDock, we have to upload this .dpf file. Then it will return the output in .dlg format. In the last step, we have to analyze the result. For analyzing the result, we have to read this .dlg file that was obtained after the AutoDock. Then read this macromolecule. After that, play the conformation by means of their binding energy. After analyzing the result, we did the comparative analysis between these 3 proteins where we got better binding energy of capsaicin with AMPRO protein. We say that this capsaicin will combat the SARS-CoV-2 receptor. At lastly, we concluded that those people who are taking bioactive compounds in their regular diet, They have capability to fight from COVID-19 infections, whereas all these bacterial compounds will stimulate the antiviral immune responses. With this, I came up to the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, very nice presentation. Yeah,
sir.
Durga, Ms. Durga, you can tell me about the criteria for selection of the molecules. You have selected only binding energy. Apart from
Yes,
that, what criteria should also be used for choosing the best docking
Yes, sir.
structure?
Okay, sir. Apart
You have
from
not
the binding,
highlighted here. Because only binding energy is not the only one parameter which leads to the
yes, sir.
selection of the molecule.
Okay. So apart from the binding energy, we can select, we can go for the further analysis by PyMol, because there we can choose the protein and the ligand that was covalently bounded with each other in their exact pocket site. And this binding energy should be more than -4, because as the binding energy will increases as more minus charges, it will enhance the binding of this protein and the ligand.
Any other jury member ask any questions?
Yes, I have a suggestion rather than question. First of all, Durga, very good presentation. But I must suggest you that do not use the word Wikipedia. Do you know what is Wikipedia? Please do not use that word. And second most important thing, if you are showing the in silico work, always shows the docking results. So, beta jo 3D structures hote na, you know, whatever
Yes,
the
sir.
3D structures are getting in the results, please take the screenshots and put it in the slides, so that we can understand that really it is going to be bind, or it's just the data you are getting from the output file you are presenting. So 3D structures data should
by
be
next
mentioned.
time.
Okay.
Okay. By next time I will try to. Okay. Thank you, sir.
God bless you.
Okay, we can move further. Mr. Shobit Gupta is there?
I'm there.
Yeah, you can proceed.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shobit Gupta, and today I present my views on the topic of immunomodulatory compounds, host-directed therapies for tuberculosis. First, the global status of tuberculosis. TB is the communicable disease that is a major cause of ill health, one of the top 10 causes of death worldwide, and the leading cause of death for a single infectious agent, above ranking with HIV and AIDS. Mycobacterium tuberculosis spread when people who were sick with TB. India contains 17% of TB disease. 9 to 24 months treatment of tuberculosis is there. The only demerit of multi-drug therapy is it a very lengthy process and time consuming. There is need for development of new treatment for tuberculosis, for the drug-resistant TB, and for improved remedies against drug-susceptible TB, with the goal of reducing toxicity and the length of therapy that will boost patients' compliance. Host-directed therapy shows emerging and promising area of research or opening for new avenues of a TB fight against TB. Now, important significance of HDT. Potential exhibit TB development via diverse host pathways such as signal transduction, antimicrobial processes, immune cell regulation, and epigenetic modulations. An important significance of HDT. It shows how host-directed therapies development via host pathways such as signal transduction, cytokines, antimicrobial regulations, and epigenetic modulations. It can be modulated by TB immunity in 3 different ways. First, to increase effective elimination of MTB bacteria, to limit access inflammation and tissue damage associated with TB, to interfere with host molecules that are required for bacterial replications and persistence. Literature shows that cell-based therapies are considered effective alternative therapies in many diseases like cancer and other infectious diseases. Diagram shows that comparison between anti-TB drug and potential host therapies. The anti-TB drug has been developed by targeting pathogenic factors such as bacterial purification. A spontaneous mutation is one of the genes that is targeting by these antibiotics can lead to the emergence of drug-resistant TB16. To overcome the limitations of current anti-TB drug, the development of new therapies is necessary. Now the uses of HTT. Possible synergies the antibiotics, reduce the life course of resistance, inhibit host factors such as MTB pathogens, inhibit bacterial functions, and facilitate host response. In this slide, it shows that how latent TB is converted into active TB. HTT are aimed at supporting the host immune response to contain bacterial replication and tissue damage. Infections may MTB results in a dynamic equilibrium between the bacilli of host that may lead to spectrum of conditions spanning with latent TB infection to active TB infection. Post-adjuvant therapies can support a host controlling MTB replication and or reduce tissue damage or pathogenic response, and a novel therapy is combining with antigen and shows improved results. Now we have conclusion. HTT have potential for a use of against this disease. Such drugs may be effective against antibiotic resistant strains, but not themselves easily used. Several studies are reproduced. Drugs are being studied for improved management and drug susceptibility. Another big challenge is ensuring that these treatments are affordable and safe. Thank you.
Dr. Bhadar, are you available?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I think now Vaishali Vishwakarma.
Good evening, judges, teachers, and fellow delegates. I am Vaishali Vishwakarma of St. Aloysius College, Jabalpur, would be presenting on coenzyme consortium of lacase and tyrosinase for medical applications. In this presentation, first we will know about bioactive compounds. Bioactive compounds are present in small quantities in many food items and provide health benefits beyond the basic nutrition value. Recently, the synthesis of new biological active compounds is becoming difficult. Hence, interest in mushroom as a potential source of bioactive compounds has occurred. Mushrooms are globally appreciated for nutrition value and medicinal properties. Till now, polysaccharides, phenolic and flavonoid, etc. compounds have been isolated from the mushroom species. Different bioactive compounds are found in different mushroom species and each have different bioactivity. For example, pyrogallol hydroxybenzoic acid, derivatives of flavonoids, and tyrosinase is bioactive compound of Agaricus bisporus species and have anti-inflammatory properties. Bioactive compound lacase is derived from Pleurotus austriatus and has anti-tumor, antiviral properties. Now, lacase are interesting group of multi-copper enzymes which are widely distributed in higher plants and fungi. The protein of lacase are characterized by containing 4 catalytic copper atoms present in their catalytic sites. They have a wide temperature and pH activity range. Their large capacity to act on both phenolic and non-phenolic lignin-related compound as well as highly recalcitrant environmental pollutants help to them in various biotechnological applications. The uses of lacase in pharmaceutical industries is under progress and is growing at a fast pace. Lacase is used for organic synthesis of several novel compounds that exhibit beneficial antibiotic properties like antiviral, antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, etc. properties. The lacase catalysis occurs due to the reduction of one oxygen molecule to water accompanied with the oxidation of one electron with aromatic compounds. Substrate oxidation is followed by generation of a free radical. The initiation product is typically unstable and may undergo a second enzyme catalyzed oxidation. The bond of the natural substrate lignin that are cleaved by lacase including carbon alpha oxidation, carbon alpha carbon beta cleavage, and aryl alkyl cleavage. The second bioactive compound is tyrosinase. Tyrosinase is a natural enzyme that is often purified to only a low degree, and it is involved in variety of functions which mainly catalyze the O-hydroxylation of monophenols into their corresponding O-diphenyls and the oxidation of O-diphenyls to O-quinones using molecular oxygen, which then polymerize to form brown or black pigments. Tyrosinase are derived from the fungi Neurospora crassa and Agaricus biaspora. The medical properties of tyrosinase are: tyrosinase plays an important role in melanogenesis and for treatment of hypopigmentation or vitiligo. It is also used for the production of L-DOPA in the pharmaceutical industries for the treatment of Parkinson's disease, and is also used in cosmetic and food industries as an important catalytic enzyme. Melanin is synthesized through a physiological process called melanogenesis. Tyrosinase catalyze the O-monohydroxylation of monophenols to their corresponding O-diphenyls and their oxidation into reactive O-quinones. Molecular oxygen is reduced to water in both the reactions. The resulting O-quinones undergo a non-enzymatic oxido-reduction reaction, producing intermediates that polymerize simultaneously in dark brown pigments such as melanins. These are the researchers who gave their remarkable contribution on this subject, which I referred to throughout my studies. Lacase have been studied intensively in nanobiotechnology for the development of implantable biosensors and biofuels cells. Moreover, their capacity to transform complex xenobiotics makes them useful biocatalysts in enzymatic bioremediations by detoxifying phenolic compounds through tyrosine. I took these researches and reviews into consideration while making this presentation. I would like to show my gratitude to my principal, Reverend Dr. G. Vazhan Arasu, for his valuable guidance throughout my work, and all the faculty members of Department of Botany and Microbiology of St. Aloysius College, Jabalpur. Thank you everyone for having me.
Vaishali, one question.
Yes, sir.
Lacase as well as tyrosinase both used for the dephenolization of the industrial waste?
Yes, sir. We
Apart
can
from
use
their
them
medicinal
for.
properties.
Yes, sir. We can use them, especially where the carbon content in industrial effluent is more. We can use the
I am just
tyrosinase
asking
and
for dephenolization, for phenol degradation, directly for phenol phenolic decontamination. Have you any literature?
Sir, I have. So, sir, I don't have much idea about this till now.
Okay, just go through literature. You can find something.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah, our next speaker is Miss Isha Deshpande.
So a very pleasant namaskar to all of you present here. And I am Isha Deshpande, and I will be discussing about the substitution of naphthalene balls with a novel organic substitute. So we all use chemical pesticides on a daily basis, and it is the most common method to prevent pest infestation. I have mentioned some categories of pesticides here. Now, naphthalene balls, they are the most harmful because we have been using them for a long time, and we are in constant contact with them.
constant environmental contact with them, and that weakens our immunity. So why not use an organic novel solution? And so we present OB cubes, and it is a research-based product. So why do we need to replace mothballs? So firstly, they contain either naphthalene or para-dichlorobenzene, both of which become a gas when exposed to air, releasing that signature pungent mothball odor. So the first structure is naphthalene and the other is para-dichlorobenzene. So when we inhale constantly in our house, these mothballs have been placed in the corners or especially where we store the clothes, in our bed storages, in our cupboards. So we inhale, we breathe in these chemicals. That causes the effect on our respiratory system, on our mostly due to contact on our skin, and they can also affect our digestive system. And not to forget the dangers of keeping these mothballs around children. So the common effect on humans has been listed here. Some of the most common are nausea, vomiting, dizziness, fatigue, headaches, and eye and nasal passage irritation. So these are some acute effects when para-dichlorobenzene exposure is done. So the solution we present is OB cubes. It is a completely herbal substitute. We have prepared it from using herbal components, and so the herbal constituents we have used show these specific medicinal properties, and we have emphasized on the antibacterial and antimicrobial properties. So since we know that A. niger is the most common fungus that degrades the clothing material, the apparels, so we have tested the extract against that. Now we also want our product to act as a pest repellent. So we have tested against termites and ants. This table shows you the experimental design for analysis, and these OB and L are individual components, whereas OL is the combination. So after applying this extract for well diffusion method, we obtained an average zone of 17 millimeters, where 0.06 is the standard deviation. The first pic shows you the individual components, the activity of the individual components, whereas the third pic, the pic under these two petri plates, shows the effect of combination that we produce. And the results, the difference, wanted to know the difference between these. So we analyzed these results statistically, and we found that there is significant difference, even at 0.01 alpha level of significance. We applied one-way ANOVA, and after GCMS analysis of the constituents, it showed us the presence of neophytadiene in the constituent that we are using. And after reviewing the literature, we found out that that neophytadiene is an antimicrobial biomolecule. So this was our setup to test against termites. We used a box and we netted it, and within an hour we found these. You can see the termites dead around the cubes that we introduced. We also tested against ants. We lured them in by putting in some jaggery, and it attracted a crowd. Then we introduced the cubes, and then we immediately saw that there is decrease in number of ants. So the ants were
please
not
be
killed.
quick. Your time has been exhausted. Go to the next.
Yes, so it showed, and we worked with the motto of from laboratory to society. So it is a product-based research. It has a lifetime of 25 days, and it is the perfect substitute. And these are the profits of the work done. We have brand registration, and since we are using herbal constituents, we are saving plant diversity. So by the name of Sonoro, we have this brand registration, and soon we will be receiving a grant from an agri incubator, that is JHKVV. And I thank you all for your time and patience.
Next speaker is
Rajput.
A very beautiful good evening to everyone. I would like to thank for giving me an opportunity to share my ideas. There is no one who doesn't know about the ongoing global pandemic. Yes, I am talking about the COVID-19, because of which there is an outcry in the whole world. Today, I am going to present my ideas about bioactive compounds and molecules against COVID-19. In today's my presentation, I am going to talk on these following topics. So let's begin with the overview of this virus. The novel coronavirus is the member of the positive sense RNA virus family that causes respiratory tract illness named severe acute respiratory syndrome. It has one of the largest genome in the virus family. The spike protein of the virus help it to enter the host cell by binding it to S2 receptor that found on the lung cell and leads to the disruption of the barrier between the host and pathogen as seen in the cartoon. To control the spreading of the virus, there are several measures have been taken place, including the physical barrier like social distancing, covering face and nose using masks, different therapies like remdesivir, antiviral drug, 2DG drug recently introduced by DRDO, passive antibody transfer, oxygen therapy, etc. And different vaccines like RNA-based vaccine, protein-based vaccine, and different attenuated virus-based vaccine has been also developed in the recent phases, which help in the reduction of the viral load within the patient. These therapies provide a short-term immune response against virus, while vaccine can provide a long-term immunity. But repeated mutation in the viral genome reduces the efficacy of the vaccine. Now, researchers have shown that the people with the high immunity has low risk and higher recovery rate against COVID-19. Now, the role of bioactive compounds come into the play. Bioactive compounds are the extra nutritional constituents that are found in the small quantities in food, providing health benefits beyond the basic nutritional values. These include polyphenolic compounds, carotenoids, tocopherol, polystyrol, organosulfur compounds. Here I have listed some examples like luteolin, tangerine, quercetin, niacin, formaldehyde, vanillin, etc. These bioactive compounds provide different physiological, immunological, antioxidant activities by modulating different signaling pathways, which induce the production of molecules like LL37, defensin protein, which destroy the pathogen by destroying their membrane and thus can suppress the endotoxin biological activities. There are some compounds like quercetin and curcumins, which are known as the known for their antioxidant activities that protect lungs by reducing the free radical level in the lungs. Now the question arises, if the bioactive compounds have such potential, then why we don't use these with the full efficacy? The answer is, for this problem, the bioactive compound is that they must extracted and purified to give their better efficacy in the enhancing immunity. But still we don't have some much technology, so we can extract them to provide their better efficacy. Researches are going on around the world on bioactive compounds, and we are going to see bioactive compounds as the source of the development of the next generation therapeutic drugs, and we will able to cure not only COVID-19 but other communicable and non-communicable diseases. Thank you, sir, for listening me patiently.
Yeah. Any query from jury side?
So, your presentation was short and good. This was an overview presentation. So I must give you a suggestion that while presenting your PPT, on the first PPT, please provide your name and university name from which you are affiliated, right? So that is the one thing. So I know this is the first step you are doing that, so no worries for that. And yes, you can progress your work with the in silico studies on these types of compound that will able to help in your novel type of research. So,
yeah,
God bless you. Thank you.
I have a query, small query.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You told that virus interact to the ACE through spike.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And body get the infection.
Yes, sir.
Is the AC receptor is present into the intestine or not?
No, sir. AC receptor are present in the host cells in the lungs.
Only lung cells.
Yes, sir. I have studied only that in the lungs. If
Okay,
not, so
Mr.
then I will definitely.
Further study
Yes, sir.
and find some more literature about that. The where is the AC receptor present? Okay,
Sir.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, our next speaker is Mr. Abhishek Nandi. Are you there?
Okay, sir. Good evening, everyone. I will like to present my work on the effect of pH and temperature change on the survivability of coliphage. So I will keep my introduction as my work is a bit big. Background of my study: drug resistance is a major problem faced by the people of 21st century. Major drugs are facing multi-drug resistance as bacteria are becoming resistant to major antibiotics. Fast therapy represent a promising alternative solution to eradicate antibiotic-resistant pathogen. High biodiversity of the collection is indicated by its biological characteristics. Methodology: at first, raw sewage samples were collected from the Bharwara sewage treatment plant, Lucknow. Clinical strains of E. coli were received from the Laboratory of Microbiology of Dr. Ram Manohar Institute of Medical Science, Lucknow. These E. coli bacteria were cultivated in Luria Bartani medium, both broth and agar. Then the sewage water was filtered and mixed with LB broth and inoculated with E. coli. After overnight incubation, the broth was centrifuged, and the centrifuge after the supernatant was filtered and the supernatant was diluted by serial dilution, and double agar plate technique was used, and the plaque formation was observed. Following this double agar plate technique, plaque morphology and host range tests were performed. 5 different E. coli strains were tested and mixed with an appropriate dilution of bacteriophage lysate and added to the top LB agar. The plates were incubated at 37 degrees centigrade and examined for plaques after 24 hours. After that, plaque morphology and diameter was assessed. The plaques for each host were picked and stored in SDS buffer, and the following tests were conducted. The first test is thermal inactivation test. The phage lysate were diluted with LB medium and inoculated at 4 different temperature, incubated, -20, 40, 62, and 95. To determine the effect of various pH, LB medium of pH 2, 4, 10, and 12 was taken, and phage particles were inoculated and incubated at 37 degrees centigrade for 1 hour. To determine the effect of various detergents, phage lysates were incubated with antimicrobial stock solution of SDS and CTAL for 20 minutes and 1 minute respectively. To determine the effect of organic solvent, a stock solution of phage was added to ethanol, acetone, chloroform, and DMSO, and the mixture was incubated for 1 hour for acetone and ethanol, 1.5 hours for chloroform, and 10 minutes for DMSO. The phage suspension for all the tests were then diluted in TM buffer and enumerated immediately by double layer agar method. The plates were incubated at 37 degrees centigrade for 18 hours. Result: in primary isolation, 5 different phages were identified on the basis of plaque size and morphology. Represented pictures are given below.
Abhishek sir, please go to your results. Thank you.
Yes, sir, I am in my results. This picture.
Proceed.
Yes, sir. This. Sir, will I proceed?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Proceed. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. So this is the result of the pH of the 5 E. coli phage, and this is the result of the organic solvents. Out of this, chloroform was found to be the best organic solvent for storage of phage particles. In conclusion, I would like to say physical characterization of phages is an important feature in exploring in the biotechnical application. Of all the 5 strains, E. coli 1 strain was found to be the most potential and will be further analyzed by chem analysis. Infection caused by drug-resistant bacteria will be a serious threat in the future, and the use of bacteriophage in therapy may offer an effective solution. Ability to propagate on clinical strains of E. coli bacteria suggests the potential use of bacteriophage in phage therapy. Morphological and physiological analysis of the large collection of bacteriophage from a single environment source indicated that there is high biodiversity among phages existing in one habitat. These are some references that I have used, and thank you everyone.
Any query from jury side?
So from where you have collected the sample?
I have collected the which sample, sir? The bacteriophage sample.
Yes.
The phage sample I have collected from a sewage treatment plant which is located at Bharwara in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh.
Okay. So
Mr. Nandi,
only sewage plant. Only
yes,
sewage
sir?
plant, right?
Yes, sir.
So,
only sewage plant.
Okay. So you can also go for Gomti River. Also, you are in Lucknow, so you can analyze go to Gomti River also, collect something from there also. And,
yes, I can collect
compare the
phage particles from Gomti River and other water bodies like lakes and yes, sir. I can do that.
Go for that and compare your study. All the best. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Mr.
you.
Gandhi,
Yes,
you
sir.
mentioned that you use E. coli strain received from
Yes, sir.
Arama hospital. So whether
Yes,
it
sir.
is standard isolates or it is clinical isolates?
So it is clinical isolate. I mentioned that it is a clinical strains. 5 clinical strains.
Yeah, Abhishek, one more query.
Yes, sir.
You have not selected the pH 7.
No, sir, I have not selected as I have selected a wide range of pH. Sir, actually I have selected pH 7. It is used for control. I have used it for control, pH 7. As pH 7 is a normal pH, most of
the bacteria survive at pH 7 around.
7. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that
Yes,
if
sir.
you give the
Also, you are not
phage at that
selected 37
pH,
G for
then
yes, sir. So yes, sir, I would like to do this pH 7 also.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you, sir.